So today is CapEx IndustryCast. Every Wednesday at 11:30, we go live. Our mission is to share knowledge of manufacturing technologies, processes, things that we are learning that could be relevant for the customers that we serve, primarily the manufacturing engineers that are out there in the manufacturing world, automotive, medical, consumer products. We are honored to have the opportunity to serve you. So this is a way that we want to be adding value, helping you grow in your career, and then sharing some of that knowledge that we are gaining along the way. Sometimes we talk about industry specific topics. Sometimes we talk about personal development, personal growth topics. And today, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about developing ourselves, and we're going to talk about what's called the PERMA model. You'll learn more about that as we go along here. All right, so this is the only real promotion that we do. We want to make sure that everyone understands what we do at CapEx. We are a manufacturers rep agency. We represent and have represented ATC Automation for 20 years now. Spent many, many years working with ATC. Wonderful company, 300 employees. There in Cookeville, Tennessee. 85% of their business is with repeat customers. And if you are in the automation industry, in the capital equipment world, you know that says a lot, because that means customers are coming back. 15% new business each year, but 85% is repeat business. So not a bunch of one and dones like I've seen with some companies out there. Cincinnati Test Systems, the largest leak test company in the world. Started working with them. They were just a small leak test company there in Harrison, Ohio. They have just exploded over the years with acquisitions and this, natural growth. And so proud of what they're able to do. But all things leak testing, helium leak testing, pressure decay, mass flow, you name the leak test technology, and they apply it. Duquesne is a plastic welding company, all things plastic welding. They are a global company as well. Hot plate welding, ultrasonic welding, vibration welding, laser welding, all things welding. That's what they do. They put plastic components together for their customers. Symetric is it's a division of Cincinnati Test Systems, but we break them out because they're a bit unique in that they do high speed in-process test and data management, which is, in this industry 4.0 world that we are moving to in the manufacturing, it is important that we are gathering that data and then utilizing it in a way that helps us to build a better product into the future, increase our uptime, and all things to improve our efficiency. Keller Technologies, right here in Fort Mill, South Carolina, they have a comprehensive line of wet and dry air filtration. So that's it. That's the commercial for today. So here's the challenge. We like to start these out with the challenge that we're all facing. So are you happy? And do you ask yourself how you could be happier in life? A common question that we tend to ask ourselves, are we happy? There's more to happiness. What Martin Seligman talks about, and the reason that he really focuses on well-being, which is, well-being is the whole person and the big picture, as opposed to happiness is that feeling. Do we feel happy? And happiness is a choice in the moment all the time. But we tend to outsource our happiness to external events and to other people. So what we learn in this book, Flourish, is how to reflect more. We get some different activities that can help us develop our skills and grow our ability to discover that happiness without seeking external stimulus to trigger that happiness. So Martin Seligman, it takes decades. I mean, this guy has been around for a long time. He's been researching happiness, positive psychology. And like I mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about PERMA. This is the holistic model for facilitating a life of well-being. And let's face it, isn't that what we all want? We all want a life of well-being. But again, we get caught up in the rat race that is life, and that pursuit. And the fact that we never catch that car that we're chasing can sometimes leave us stressed, frustrated, and depressed as a result. So if you implement these ideas, these concepts, you're going to move past that. So the P in PERMA stands for positive emotions. Again, we're going to deep dive into that. The E is for engagement. The R is for relationships. The M is for meaning. And the A is for achievement, accomplishment, and in that pursuit, which is important, but it's connecting that pursuit to those other components as well. So positive emotions is where we're going to start. That's the P in PERMA. So positive emotions extend beyond happiness. That's why I say, happiness is something that we want to feel, but we sometimes it eludes us. It's something we pursue, but we don't know how to get it because we're seeking it outside of ourselves. When happiness ultimately always resides on the inside. It always resides on the inside. Now, there are outside influences, right? Relationships, very important. Maybe our economic situation could impact that happiness as well. But in this situation, again, we're focusing on well-being. So feelings like gratitude, joy, love, hope, we all have the ability to cultivate and incorporate these positive emotions into our daily habits. And that's what we want to be focused on. So what makes you happy? If you were to think, what brings about positive emotions is really what I want to encourage you to think about. And if I were to reflect for myself, what brings me positive emotions, I would say, having these opportunities to share with you. I mean, selfishly, this feels good. I love it. I really enjoy sharing what I'm learning with an audience that is curious, that wants to learn, wants to grow. So that opportunity to make a positive impact on other people, that energizes me, gets me excited, and motivates me to have these type of conversations. So when I'm doing this, when I'm having a conversation that's going to move someone in, ideally a positive direction, then that is going to stir positive emotions within me. So the more I do that, the more positive emotions that I personally experience. When I'm out, so I've been in sales the majority of my career. When I'm out in pursuit of opportunities, that excites me, that energizes me. I get a large degree of satisfaction in the pursuit of opportunities, figuring out using strategy, how can we make this work? So reflect for yourself, what is it that cultivates within you positive emotions? What are those activities, and how can you experience more of those opportunities? That's what we're after, experiencing more of those positive, high impact moments that are going to allow us to cultivate more positive emotions. So each day, so if you're struggling, and I was, as I mentioned before, I was struggling at the end of the year, not before in this podcast, but other communications, I've talked about how I struggled near the end of the year. I was just down and had almost a depression, and just not motivated, not excited, not energized. And when I took this activity from Flourish and I started to maintain a daily gratitude journal, so every day I would write down 3 things that I was grateful for that day. Oftentimes it resulted in, it was the people in my life, the people that I had been interfacing with that day, the positivity that I experienced with them, family, friends, coworkers, customers, people that really bring the meaning to life. So that was a lot of what I shared, or accomplishments or things that I was successful in moving forward. So starting that gratitude journal was super helpful for me. I did it for several months, and found it to be, again, really empowering. It brought my heightened emotions up. I was more focused on those positive experiences as opposed to focusing on the negative experiences or the negative events or negative situations in my life that was dragging me down. So it really helped to move me out of that chasm that I was in. So been super helpful. Encourage you to take that and do with it what you will, but it will bring your emotions up. Give and graciously receive compliments to other people. Nothing feels better than telling the person at the counter when you're paying for your gas. Well, people do that, or when you go in and buy a bottle of water. That, gosh, you have a beautiful smile, or sometimes teeth are so white. You're like, oh my gosh, your teeth are so white. That's amazing. They're beautiful. Or I love your eyes, or I love your outfit, or gosh, you smell so good. Those those compliments are almost, I call them selfish, because when we are able to compliment another person, it just feels good. So obviously you want to be authentic. You don't want to be full of crap, because otherwise it doesn't land in you. It doesn't mean anything for you, and it won't mean anything for the other person if you are not sincere in giving your compliment. But when you do that sincerely, it will absolutely create positive emotions in your life. So dedicate time for rest and relaxation. Sleep is critical for positive emotions. Sleep is, was it knits together the fabric of time or something? I can't remember the exact saying, but that is, sleep puts it all back together in our brains. When we get all disheveled, lots of activity throughout the day, it really puts it all back together. So rest is important. When we have an opportunity to engage in our hobbies, that's another activity that can help us help facilitate more positive emotions. Another idea here is to stay present in your interaction. So right now, right here, all I want to be is with you. I want to be sharing with you. When I'm at lunch with my wife, I want to be with her. I don't want to be on my phone. I don't want to be anywhere else. I want to be with her. When I'm driving my child to swim practice, or to horseback riding, or to whatever activity that we're pursuing, I want to be with them. How can I engage them and stay present? We live in a completely distracted, disconnected world these days. We look at Facebook and think or feel that we are engaged. We are not. That is, we're voyeurs, looking at other people's lives, and we only see the highlight reels of everyone's lives. We don't see the challenges that they're going through. We don't see the year-end depression that they are experiencing, or the drama that's going on in their life, because that's not what we present. And so we are on the outside looking in, and we see those activities are not genuine interactions, and it causes us to be more depressed. And so just be cognizant of that as you're surfing the Facebook or Instagram, or whatever your preferred social drain is. So just try to stay present and away from that when you're interacting with actual human beings. So next is spend quality time with friends and family. Kind of goes back to what we talked about before, but when you're with them, be there, be with them. Don't be somewhere else. Engage with them. That's going to help facilitate more positive emotions in your life. Scientifically proven. I'm not making this crap up. So when you are with them, be with them, engage with them, and that is going to change. You'll change physically. It'll change your chemistry internally, and you'll begin to experience life with greater joy and engagement. So now we're talking about engagement. So we're practicing engagement when we allow ourselves to be present in each moment, right? So those conversations that we're having with our friends, those opportunities to go to lunch with our spouse or a friend, and just be there, be present, be engaged. So we are mindful of the experience. We are in the moment. We're not focused on the future. We are engaged in the moment that is right now. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, he talks about the fact that the only moment we have is this moment. Now, 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 second by second, right? So there's no tomorrow. There's no month down the road. There's no reliving the past. It is done. In reality, all we have is right now. And so we can show up in a way that is engaged, or we can waste the moment by, again, surfing, by doing activities that serve as distractions, as opposed to allowing us to live our full potential. And our full potential can only be achieved through engagement. So engagement is obviously too without judgment. So Notice, so here's some ideas, some concepts to consider when thinking about engagement. Notice which activities that make you lose track of time. Just because you enjoy them, you're engaged, you're with friends. Maybe you're playing poker with friends, or you are having a dinner with friends, or what are the activities? Maybe it's building something. Maybe it's hiking. There are many things, many ways that we are able to engage where we just lose track of time. And that is, we get into what we call flow. Flow is engagement. Be observant of the sounds, sensations, motions, what's going on right now. I mean, the wonder in the world is amazing when you step back and you think about all of the interconnectedness that it has. And not to get too philosophical or out there, but I mean the trees that are taking in the energy from the sun, and they're converting that to oxygen that allow us to breathe. I mean, it's everything is connected, and to not take time to sit back and think about that, it makes it difficult to engage, because we again are thinking more about ourselves. And when we just focus on ourselves and not not be in awe, then we lose some of the opportunity for engagement, that connection that we are looking for. Learn where your strengths and talents are, and then aim to do more of what you are good at. So critical, right? We do these activities, we think about our weaknesses. Gosh, I'm not good at this. And so what we do is we focus our time and effort. We get down on ourselves because we are not good at something. What I want to encourage you to do is not focus on what you're not good at. If you're great at something and you're bad at something, and you're determined to make your bad better, instead of your good great, then you're going to move this up. You're going to keep this, and there's no real progression toward being able to add more value. And we talk about value. We talk about the importance of adding value. That's how we know we are living our full potential, when we are continually growing our capacity and ability to add value. So important. But when we engage, when we focus on our strengths, we're going to continually increase our ability to add value, because we are engaged in that. And so grow your strengths, and that allows us to deliver more value, be more engaged. All right, moving on to the next. So important. I talk about this a lot. Relationships. Nothing matters. Nothing matters in life without people to do life with. The most miserable people on this planet are people that are obsessed with themselves, that are focused on their self-satisfaction, that are focused on their success, and they are neglecting their relationships. They make everything about them. Even their relationships are about them. You sit down with them, and all they talk about are themselves, the misery that they might be experiencing, facing at the moment, right? So that's the negative aspects of relationships, but the positive aspects for relation. I mean, life doesn't matter. Nothing else matters more than our relationships. So we are naturally social creatures. Healthy relationships are vital to living a life well lived. So we all need to feel supported, valued by other people, and provide those things to those that we care about. We want to value other people. When we deliver that, again, that sense of well-being, it flourishes. We flourish as people when we are able to do life with other people and help them to feel that connection as well. So what I would encourage you to do, some activities to think about, conceptualize here: reconnect with friends and family members that you have not reached out to in a long time. Connect with them, reach out. When can you get together? Have a family reunion. I know this whole COVID thing has been nothing but a hot mess for this connection. I think that's the tragedy of COVID. It has been an opportunity for people that don't naturally connect with other people to further pull back from society. And when we pull back from society, when we pull back from engaging in relationships, that further increases our self-focus. So the world is all about us. And when it's all about us, we're going to be miserable, pure misery, because we're never going to be happy. We're never going to be satisfied because we're looking externally to satisfy ourselves internally. And so when we are saying, oh, we don't need relationships, then that is, a recipe for depression, anxiety, all kinds of problems that have come out of COVID as a result of a justified reclusion or justified pullback. Is reclusion a word? I don't know. Justified pullback for people that don't want to necessarily engage. So engaging in relationships, very important, even if you're even if you're not extroverted. So if you're introvert, you still need people, period. I want you to show genuine interest and ask questions of people just that you just met, engage with them, get to know them. What about them? We are all unique. We're all important. We all want to feel valued. And how we feel valued is when we ask questions and we seek to understand other people. Very important. So seek to make new connections by joining communities. So there are any number of opportunities to join new communities. What are you passionate about? What are your hobbies that you enjoy? How can you be more engaged? How can you create a community? If it doesn't exist, create it. There are any number of tools to use to grow and build a group that is tailored to your interest. Stay present in your conversations and interaction with others. That's part of engagement, right? But if we want to build better relationships, we have to be more engaged. There's nothing worse than having a conversation with someone and they are texting or they're focused on their phone, right? So if I was sitting here doing this and I'm just going about, yeah, guys, so here's what we want to do. Here's how it works, yada, 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 yada. Then you're going to be like, screw this guy. He doesn't care about me. He has no interest in what's going on in my life. So again, just use that as a point of reference. Stay connected, put the dang phone down, engage with other people, build those relationships. Next is meaning. The M in PERMA is meaning. So we naturally have a need for a sense of belonging and serving something greater than ourselves. This is the tragedy of I think the world that we have built, that maybe we live in, is we get disconnected from the meaning because we get focused on the dollars and cents. We are in pursuit of more, but we're in pursuit of more without meaning. But when we can combine the two, if we can combine the skills, the value that we develop into a sense of meaning, a purpose, then that drive is going to be fulfillment. It's going to enhance our well-being. Putting those two together, it says easy does hard. I get it, but in intentionally focusing on what do I enjoy? What do I love? What are my passions? The word passion is so overused, but for lack of a better term, what excites me, what energizes me when I'm done at the end of the day. If I've engaged in this activity all day long and I'm still excited and energized at the end of the day, that's the meaning. That's what brings meaning to our lives. So it looks different for each one of us because we have different values. We're all raised differently. We're different people, but finding it is universal. So here's some ideas. Seek professional growth in an area that feels significant and where you can make the positive impact, the most positive. That's, meaning when we're able to apply our skills in a way that is going to be meaningful to others, it's going to be meaningful to us. It's service. That's what feels good. When we are only serving ourselves, it leads to misery, it leads to depression, it leads to all kinds of emotional discord because we're not living in accordance with the universe. And again, not to get all philosophical, but everything is interconnected. And when we are a void in that interconnectivity, it really does lead to a life of misery. So when we think about meaning, find opportunities for volunteering with groups that support a cause that you are all about. So Vicky is very passionate about animals and animal rescue and dog shelters. So she is engaged. She's in that group. She's a foster parent for these dogs that are in need of support and in an interim place to stay. So that's where she has engaged. So what opportunities do you have for volunteering like Vicky does, in getting yourself into a group that is passionate and focused on something that drives meaning, that serves more than themselves? So make the effort to help others in a way that might seem small. I love to write, thank you letters to people and engage with people to encourage them. So that's just my way, and it's not necessarily the right way, but the more that we can do that, again, it's selfish, it's fulfilling to help other people have a better day. I mean, come on, is there anything that is better than that? Serving and delivering value in that way. So spend time doing more creative activities that showcase your unique gifts. For me personally, I love to write. So this is a book right here. I'm writing this to my children. So I've said, gosh, you know what I'm going to do? I want to write a manual for life for my children. So every day, every morning, that's what I do. I write for them. I'm not saying that's what you have to do. I'm just giving you an example of something that is allowing me to scratch my creative itch, but at the same time, do it in a way that's going to serve my children, long after I'm gone. Hopefully this will be a resource for them to look at. What was Dad's idea on influence? So in the book, I talk about influence. I talk about suffering, and I talk about the how we create in our own suffering. I talk about the seasons of life, and which is a concept that I learned from my mentor Jim Rohn, and I talk about how we all have seasons of life, and so sometimes it might be summer in reality, but inside it could be winter because of the challenges that we're going through. So learning how to navigate the seasons of life, extremely important for them. So again, that's just how I try to be creative and also add value in the meantime. So finding meaning in our work, in our day-to-day lives, so important to enhancing our well-being. Now we got achievement. So the A in PERMA is achievement. So working together and reaching goals provides a sense of accomplishment, obviously, which contributes to our sense of well-being. This can also include learning new skills that we need for our work, increasing our value, or expanding our value, following through on our curiosity, right? So that's that meaning, that growth that we're seeking as well. We always need to be growing. If we're not growing, we are going to suffer as a result. And discovering, what are our talents that we may not have discovered because we haven't been attempting, we haven't been challenging ourselves, mastering a challenging endeavor, and anything in between. So here, we set SMART goals. I've talked many times about how to set goals: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time bound. I want you to, set these goals and then break them down. So what do I need to do today? What activity, what action do I need to do today to move closer to my goal? Right? If you want to climb a mountain, the way you do it is one step at a time. I know it's trite, but that's how it works, right? One step at a time. So we have a goal to get to the top of the mountain. We're not going to get there in one fell swoop because we don't have a cape. We can't fly like Superman. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to step our way. So each day, taking the step, one step, next step, one step, next step, and that's going to move us toward that achievement. That sense of achievement enhances our well-being. It allows us to actualize our value. We see the benefits of our value delivery in achievement. There's nothing wrong with achievement. I encourage you to pursue it. Always be focused on achieving. So take the time to reflect on the things that you've learned and succeeded in. One of my other mentors, his name's Dan Sullivan. He has a concept. It's called the gap. And the gap is the distance from where you are to where you want to be. So where we want to be is the horizon, right? The horizon is where we want to go. But the problem is there's a huge gap between where we are and the horizon. The second problem is you never get to the horizon. You never do. You will never reach the horizon. And so that's why so many people get discouraged in life, is because they're so focused on the horizon, the goal that they've got, and where they are and the gap between them, that they just stop. They stop pursuing it. The key here is to turn around, and see where you have come from. Where have you come from? And to look at those achievements, those accomplishments that have gotten you to where you are today. That helps you understand and not focus on the gap, but focus on, gosh, man, I have come a long way. Look where I started and look where I am today. And that gives us the courage and the drive and the hunger to continue to step forward each and every day. So taking that time to reflect, really important. Be your own cheerleader. So important. Don't look for other people to celebrate you. That is false. It is shallow. Celebrate yourself. Celebrate your successes. Use that gratitude journal as an opportunity to reflect and demonstrate your gratitude for yourself. Be proud of yourself. You have so much to be proud of, I'm sure. Problem is, you are focused on everything that you've made, every mistake that you make, right? We have 10 great things that happen in our lives. We have one bad thing. What do? We focus on the one bad thing. I saw something on I think it was LinkedIn today. The teacher came into the room and put, 3 plus 4 equals, or no, 4 plus 4 equals 7. And then so she went through a times table, I think it was, or maybe it's, yeah. So 1 times 8 equals 7. And then she got the other 9 correct in her math. So it was 8 times 2 was 16, and so on and so forth. So all of the students in the class laughed at her, laughed at that mistake. They laughed and they focused on the mistake. They didn't think about everything that she had done correctly. So she'd done 10 of them, 10 equations. 1 of them she intentionally messed up. 9 of them she got correct. But what happens is, her lesson to the students was, hey, you're going to focus on that mistake. We as students, we focus on our mistakes, but we've got to get past that to learn from the mistakes, but focus on the fact you got 9 right. You have 9 correct. And don't continue to beat yourself up about the one that you got wrong. So celebrate your accomplishments. Practice positive self-talk to increase your self-esteem and belief in your abilities. Is it that Saturday Night Live skit? Gosh darn it, I'm good. I am good enough. But it really is important that we maintain a positive disposition. Martin Seligman determined that optimism is critical, absolutely fundamental to avoiding depression. If you want to avoid depression in your life, then focus on having an optimistic outlook. Pessimists are 10 times more likely to become depressed than optimists. I'm not making stuff up, scientifically proven. Look into Martin Seligman's work and you'll see that. Another thing that leads to depression is when we have that pessimistic outlook, it then can spiral into a feeling or a sense of helplessness. And that's kind of where I was at the end of last year. A lot of changes, a lot of transitions in my life, and, specifically in my work life, right? So I'm just struggling through these different transitions, and at some level I'm feeling helpless, and helplessness will absolutely trigger pessimism, because we always think of the worst. We visualize the worst possible outcome. We obsess over it. We want to change it, but especially when other people are involved, we can't change other people. And so that can trigger a sense of helplessness. And so that's where I was. But when I realized, hey, it doesn't have to be that way. I can change my outlook. My outlook is on me. And so when I focused on what I had accomplished, I focused on what I wanted as opposed to what I didn't want, totally transformed my attitude and my approach to life. All right, in summary, so hopefully this is helpful for you. I love this stuff. I love Martin Seligman. Flourish is the name of the book. I highly encourage you to get it, listen to it, read it, however you consume any type of that type of media. Really encourage you to get it. So a life well lived includes the elements of positive psychology, right? Positive emotion, optimism, belief. Positive emotions can be cultivated and they must be integrated into our daily habits. Engage, engage, engage. So in the zone, the flow, those type of engagement, that's the type of engagement that you want. Be present in your relationships. So relationships, that is the key. That is the foundation of a life well lived, of our well-being, is living life with people, engaged in life with people. So you will recall, think about some of the most joyful experiences that you've had in your life. It isn't by yourself. It's almost always going to be with people, with other people. So we have the need and capacity to find purpose, meaning. Why do we do what we do? What drives us? What gets us excited, motivated, and wanting to get out of life? And then the last one here is we need a sense of accomplishment or achievement to keep us motivated, keep us going, keep that momentum, because we need to be growing, expanding, always developing and increasing our ability to add value. And lastly here, do not allow pessimism to drive you into a corner and cause you to lose hope in life. Always maintain that optimistic outlook. Things are going to get better. It always does. I promise you, it always does. It's amazing how it works, especially when we keep that positive outlook. All right, so next week, I'm anticipating having Dave Kralowitz on from Cincinnati Test Systems. Dave, if you're watching, might be news to you, but look forward to having you on to talk medical component leak testing. And then on the 12th, we're excited to have Josh Brown join us to talk about all things plastic laser welding. He is a laser welding expert. As always, any questions at all, or if you want topics, please rank recommendations. We really enjoy putting these together. Hopefully they are adding value to you. So for Matt Matheny, Chris Mullins, and Vicky Meza, I'm Russ Sorrells signing off for today. Thanks so much for your business. We are grateful for the opportunity to serve you day in and day out, and look forward to serving you into the future. Have a wonderful day. Thanks. Bye-bye.